What's up guys, it's Mike back again today, MF Vape. Thanks for tuning into the channel and I hope you're all doing very well indeed. Right, today guys, we've got a single 21700 battery compatible regulated Squonk device, and this one is not like your normal Squonk device. No, this one's the world's first top filling Squonk device, and it's called the Topside, and here it is. It was designed by TVC, the Vapor Chronicles, and manufactured by Dovpo. We got the stage vape Venus sitting on top. So without further ado, we're going to go down low, show the packaging that comes with the Topside, go through the features, and then we'll come back up top and I'll give you my thoughts on the Topside Squonk mod. Okay, see you down low in a bit. Right, we're down at the table. Here's the Topside mod by TVC and Dovpo. Right. It's got a sleeve on this package, so a quick look around that. Here's the back of it. So it obviously takes your single 21700s, 2700s and 18650 batteries. We've got an input voltage range of 3.2 to 4.2, the output of 1 to 8.5 volts, a resistance range of 0.08 to 3.5 ohms. And we've got variable wattage and bypass, and the temperature control is an optional with the firmware update, which is apparently going to be on the site at some point. Right, the wattage range is 5 to 90 watts, and we've got a 0.96 inch OLED display, and we've also got a gold-plated sprung-loaded 510 connection and a 10 milliliter juice capacity silicone Squonk bottle, and you also do get a spare as well. Right, so there's your scratch and check there. We've got the address there, so that just slides off. And here you'll notice the box. So we've got the Topside logo there. We've also got these 4 holes here which you can use as an atomizer stand. If you take all the stuff out in there, you can just use it as a stand, so that's a very nice touch. But you just grab hold of this bit here, slide it off. Inside the packaging we've got quality control there, got a little card there with some information from about the product and from TVC. We've also got a battery safety warning card, which is always nice to see, and there's also this little basic instruction user manual here. Right, we have also got a firmware update and charging cable here, because you can charge the device on the mod, which I don't recommend doing. I recommend using an external charger. We've got a couple of screws here. I think these are for the actual Squonk bottle, and we've got an Allen key there. Right, so here is the Topside mod then. So on the side here you see we've got the charging ports, or the firmware update port here. The design of this, it did remind me of the double barrel a little bit when I first got this, because you've got like the 2 cylindrical bits there which are like shaped like a shotgun, but we've obviously got a little bit more on this because this has actually got where your board sits on this side here. So if we have a look on top, you see we've got a small bit of branding there, Topside. There's the sprung loaded connector there. Yeah, it's got a very stiff throw on it, but that's good. So that's also insulated around there as well. So we've got a couple of star-shaped screws here. I wouldn't advise actually taking it all apart unless you actually know what you're doing. But if we look at we'll have a look at this side first actually. Here's the button, the firing button. So it has been designed that if your e-liquid should fall down here, it should like fall around the edge of the button, so it won't actually go inside. But just have a little listen now. So you've got a nice clicky responsive button. There's a venting port here for your circuit board to cool it down. We've also got the up and down button. Nice bit of click to them. They're not very big, but they do protrude nicely, so you shouldn't have any problems locating them. And we've also got a couple of like I don't know if they're star-shaped screws there as well. Right, so on the bottom then we've got Dovpo there. We've got a TVC creation logo there, and we've also got your usual markings. So to open the door, we push this way and it pops open. And obviously your battery will go in here, and this is where your Squonk bottle is. So it is clearly marked with a negative there. So it's negative up on this one, and it also comes with this 18650 adapter with a gold plated contact. See, we've got this old screw thing here. This basically holds the Squonk bottle in place. So if you just twist it round and it pops up like so, and then you just give it a little pull and just have a look at this. So these pieces here are like a silicone, and if we look at the top of the mod, just see there we've got like the kidney shaped filling holes, and you just literally fill up the Squonk bottle through here. So to take this whole sled out, you just get your nail in there, and this bit just does pull out like that. And yeah, the spare screws, they're used for this part here, because this part you can take it away, because obviously the silicone's Squonk bottle is all like in here. So in order to replace it or to clean it thoroughly, you need to take this section off. But to be honest, just running it under the tap, you shouldn't have any dramas at all. I don't think you really need to bother taking this part off unless you really did need to. Now, I did forget that you do actually get a spare one of these in the package, so that's a really nice touch. So you get this whole section here as a spare. So on the actual bottle, it's actually quite soft, this one. And apparently where that T is, you see, you could actually take the top off, spin this bottle around, but where the T is apparently like the optimum place to actually Squonk it. It gives you like the most even pressure, according to the man himself, TVC. So I'm just going to leave it in place. I don't think there's any real need to take this section apart, but you can do if you wish. So to put it back in, I'll just have a quick look through there for you. So if you notice this part here, actually, just try and see it. You can't really pick it up, but there is a little plastic piece here where it actually slots into, which goes into this hole here. We'll just put it back together. So you close that up like that. Yeah, so that all feeds in, and basically to get from the Squonk bottle to the actual 510 connector, because obviously this is where the e-liquor is going to come out here, there's literally a really small tube that goes more or less horizontally over to your 510 connector over here. And Brian's advised that it should last a very long time, so there's really no need to have to take it apart and replace it, because it isn't replaceable, that particular part of the tube. But do check out his introduction video if you do want to have a look at that. But what you can do, if you want to clean like the inside of this connector, you can fill up the Squonk bottle with water, and then you can just face it away from the circuit board, and you can give the Squonk bottle a little press, and it will like clean that through here. So that's up to the user, but it will void the warranty if it should get into the circuit board. But yeah, it can be done if you should so wish. Right, so to put this cap back on, you just literally line up these two parts here with the top of the bottle, and this bit here is sprung loaded, so you need to make sure that that's in the correct place. You push it down, and then you keep it held down and turn the top until it finds the threads, and then it's done up tightly like that. Right, today I'm using a Samsung 30T, which is a 21700, and we got a 3000 milliamp hour 35 amp continuous discharge rating, which is the recommended type battery for a mod like this, or the Samsung 40T, but that one's got a slightly lower continuous discharge rating of 30 amps. Right, so here's the screen then. It's already on there, so 5 clicks turns it off. It says goodbye. 5 to turn it back on. And there we have it. So just have a quick look at the display. We've got variable wattage. We've got the battery power display there, wattage, the amperage, got the voltage there, and the resistance. Right, now you'll see we've got the 0.15 resistance coil in on this particular one. So the wattage increments go down in 0.5. So if we just hold it all the way to 5, and then it does round robin back to 90, and it's a very nice scroll on this. No dramas at all with that one. Right, if you hold down the fire button and the down button, it changes it to variable, to bypass mode, I should say. So you'll just notice here we've got 4.16 volts left in the battery. It is a freshly charged battery, but it's obviously not quite 4.2 volts according to the board in here. So literally in bypass mode, it just uses whatever voltage is left with your battery. So to turn it back to wattage, you hold down the down and the fire button again, and it brings you back to wattage mode. Right, if you hold down the up and down buttons, it locks the key, and you can still fire the device, but you cannot change the up and down parameters. So to unlock it again, just hold down the minus and plus, and then you can start using it again. Right, so to fill this bad boy up then, it's just like any other normal tank that you see. So you literally just pour the juice through one of the actual holes. Now it is easier with a fine nipped bottle, admittedly, but it will work with one like this. But you do need to bear in mind that when you are filling, once it goes past this point here, you can't really see how much is in it, so you have to sort of look through the top. So the good thing, if you're using one of the fine nipped tip bottles, once you've sort of got it in there, it tends to like suck it back up again, so you don't put too much in. But yeah, so that is the Topside. Good look around it. So let's go back up top now, and I'll tell you what I think about it. Right, we're back up top with the Topside. What do I think of it then? Well, right off the bat with this one, I thought it looked rather big, and it's definitely got the double barrel sort of styling going on. Here is the double barrel here, so you've definitely got like the two tube cylindrical sections of it. But yeah, first impressions were it was a little bit taller and wider than what I was expecting. And when I first picked it up, I actually thought it was a little bit uncomfortable as well. But now I've had it for over a week, I actually do think it's a nice, comfortable mod. So yeah, I just think it takes a little bit of getting used to. Because the thing is, I've been spoiled because I've got this recurve Squonk device, and this one, literally the design with this, it just fits your hand like an absolute glove. So after a week's worth of use, I actually find it's not too bad. Because if you hold it this way round with the finger firing, you've got like the curved bit around where your hand goes in. So I think that is probably the most comfortable position. But it's also comfortable like this, because you tend to hold it like that and then you just thumb fire it just like that. So like I say, now I've had it for a week or so, I actually think it's quite comfortable. So, but it's just, at first I just thought it felt a little bit awkward in the hand. But yeah, just thought I'd better mention that one. It's also not the lightest mod in the world. Now I've got a few other devices here. We've got the Arctic Dolphin here for comparison. Now obviously that's an ABS, so it's quite a lightweight mod. We've also got the Thurium, which is a mechanical device, so there's no board in there, so I shouldn't really be comparing it with that one. We've got the Dovpo Basium here, which is a dual 18650, and you can see that one's a lot shorter, but this one has to accommodate a 21700. And we've also got the owned by OC and Rage, Desire Design Rage, which is also a dual 18650. So yeah, for a single battery mod, it's quite large, but it needs to be there because because we've got this Squonk sled thing, which is really good because, like I say, you can unscrew this here, pull it all out. You can fit 10 millilitres of e-liquid in here, and that is a proper 10 mil as well, because it does last you a good amount of time. So yeah, the Squonk bottle and the tray, it's easily cleaned. One thing I wanted to point out though, with this top fill, it's a little bit weird to get used to, because you get to there and then you can literally hold it by there, because it has got a little bit of resistance where the silicone does plug in. But what I was finding was, if I was using like a filler bottle that wasn't actually like a unicorn tip, fine tip one, such as this MF Vape one, we haven't got like the fine tip, so I was just like squeezing in, and it was managing to find its way. It must have been like round the edges, because I was actually noticing, like, when I opened up the door on the bottom, it was a little bit wet inside. So you do need to be careful that you're actually filling directly into those holes and not just like, you know, round the edges, because it will tend to find its way down. So yeah, that's just something that you got to watch out for. Now the actual plug, this cap, it's a really good idea, but it does require a little bit of effort, and you do need to spin it as you're pushing down. Because if you just sort of push it down and then try and thread it, you are going to like snag the threads. So you need to push down while spinning at the same time. So it's not too hard to do, but those with dexterity issues might have a little bit of an issue with it. It's like I say, it's not hard, but it's just not as easy as just putting a cap on and twisting it up. So I just thought I'd better point that one out. Right, it's great that it takes your 21700s and your 2700s and 18650s too. Now, the thing is with this though, going on to the performance now. Now, I've got some Vapcell 30T equivalents, and I've also got some Samsung 30Ts, the originals too. And for me, those two types of battery are the best performing in this one, obviously, because they've got the 35 amp continuous discharge rating. So if you're going to be pushing it up to 90 watts, you're going to get a better performance out of one of those high amp drain batteries. But that's the other thing, the battery life in this, if you are going to be pushing it around 70 to 90 watts, I was noticing after 2 or 3 hours, when the battery display goes down to about 2 bars, and you leave it 70-80 watts, it definitely isn't hitting those watts still. Because even though it's regulated, it's like the converter in there, like the regulator, isn't actually giving you those required wattages. Because normally with a regulated mod, the lower your voltage goes in the battery, it if you set it at a particular wattage, it will try and draw as much current as it can to actually deliver the wattage that you've given. But I have noticed that if you've got a low battery, even on the 30T, it definitely isn't giving you like 70 or 80 watts when it gets down low. So yeah, just to be pointed out. And if you're using like a mechanical or a semi-mechanical like the recurve, obviously when the voltage drops with this, so does the performance. But it does seem a little bit familiar with this Topside as well. You're definitely not getting the full wattage all the way down when your battery drains. So after 2 or 3 hours, like if you're using this continuously, like at work, I was taking it to work, having a vape in the morning, one at lunchtime, one in the afternoon, and it was lasting me the whole day. But in an evening, if I'm using it as my sole mod, I was finding that I had to replace it after about 3 hours or so, and I was vaping it around 60-65 watts. So yeah, the battery life isn't the best in the world, but you've got to expect that with a single battery mod. But definitely the 21700s are giving me the best performance and also the battery life. Now I haven't got any Samsung 40Ts, but they've got 4000 milliamp hour battery life rating, so definitely recommend getting one of those. It's only got a 30 amp continuous discharge rating limit, but I think you'll find with the Samsung 40Ts you're going to get some extra battery life. But unfortunately I haven't got any to show you. But let's just give you a little toot, we'll just give you a little squonk on it. Now it's lovely big section here for squonking. You can use 2 fingers, 1 finger. Where the T is the optimum position. and it's nice and soft. But obviously I've got the stage vape Venus, so I've just managed to squonk it everywhere because I'm being a numpty with that one. But it does squonk very well, this one. So let's just give you a little toot. We've got a 0.11 build and it's 70 watts. Put too much liquid in that one, so that was a bit of a wet vape. Put up to 75. Really nice hard hitting vape I'm getting with this one. Definitely feels like I'm getting the full 75 watts there. Let's just put it up to 90 for you. Just undo the airflow slightly. Really nice hard hitting vape. For me personally, I tend to vape between 60 and 90 watts. This one's definitely delivering those watts in my opinion. Those of you that like a really hot vape, this might be a little bit not powerful enough for you, but for those that just like that 40 to 90 watt range, I think you'll enjoy this particular mod. But the actual top fill, the fact that you can unscrew that and just fill it from the top, is a real winner, and it's a real good idea. But personally speaking, I just think it's a little bit too big for me for a single battery mod, because I tend to use the Rage and the Basium, and they're a little bit better form factor in your hands, and they're not overly heavy anyway. So those of you that like your higher wattages and hot vape, I would probably recommend getting the dual battery, dual 18650 Squonk or something like that. But if you're in the like your single cores, like I've been running the recurve on here around 55 watts, and you're getting more battery life obviously with that one. And even if you're using a dual core between 60 and 90 watts, it's a good hitting mod, but you will need to change the batteries on more than one occasion during the day. But we've also got really nice clicky fire buttons on this, and the up and down button, they're not hard to find. Even if you've got big fingers, I think you'll have no troubles with that. We got the nice screen on here. I think it's very similar to the Basium one, which is also by Dovpo, but no trouble reading this. Very good contrast on it, even outside. So that's a good plus point too. But yeah, I can't think of anything else to say for this one, but I think it's a decent device, and the top fill on it is definitely a big thumbs up to TVC. It's a really good design, this one. I think it could have some improvements, and I'll be interested to see what the V2 would bring us. But for now, it cost, I think it was £70 I paid in the UK. eSig 1 is where I purchased it. I think it may be the equivalent in dollars in the US. But yeah, it's well built. We've got no rough edges or anything like that. It's a nice solid device. It takes all three battery types. It hits very nicely, and it's top filling. So yeah, it definitely gets a thumbs up from me. So if you did enjoy the video, guys, please give it a little thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel and you like what you see, consider subscribing too, and make sure you hit the little bell notification. Now, I've got my own website too. It's mfvape.co.uk, and I've also got my own VapeTube channel, so please check that one out and give that a little subscribe too. It'd be much appreciated, because that's another platform strictly for vaping reviewers, so do check that one out. It's called VapeTube. And I can also be found on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter also. So until next time, guys, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Cheers.